I'm listening on my headphones. So.
Well, the internet heard that.
I haven't heard it yet.
I did. And we're live.
There we go. There was just a bit of a delay, but I agree we are live.
Hello from the metaverse. It's either going to kill us all or save us all, one or the other. Oh, man.
Oh, man. What are you getting?
Hang on. Makita is probably going to watch this, and I got to just move. There. Perfect.
What'd you do?
I just had to... Don't worry about it.
No.
Welcome, everybody, to the Cloud Native Coffee Hour, where we drink coffee and we talk about cloud native things. Today you have Dan McCracken and Sam Delamarter. We will be your hosts. And we're going to talk about a bunch of things related to CNCF certifications. Cloud native things. This is the Cloud Native Coffee Hour, after all. And some things security related. A few of us have been going through the CNCF or it's actually Linux Foundation, right? Sam, you're going to have to correct me on this. So there are these certifications.
Yeah.
And they're held by like the Linux Foundation, I believe. CNCF, big part of the situation, but Linux Foundation. And a couple of us have been studying for and attempting the CKS, which is the Certified Kubernetes Security Specialist.
Yes.
But only one S, even though there should be two, and I like that it's just one. Like, thank you, marketing people of CNCF or Linux Foundation, whoever branded that.
Right.
Brilliant. Because
Yep.
KCSP and KCNA, I've been trying to memorize them. There's just a lot. It's a lot to remember.
A lot going on.
And we've been studying for them, and we've attempted them a couple times. There's going to be zero spoilers. But we are going to talk about the things that are public, and we're going to talk about how we went about studying, because we are in the proximal mode of development to tell you what's working for us. And it could be very valuable to you if you're studying for the CKA or the CKS. We're going to focus on the CKS today, but we got a long time. We could talk for hours, Sam and I, about all these things. Sam, you have anything to add? What else are we going to talk about today? You're going to share your screen.
Who knows? Yeah, I'll share my screen. We can walk through a couple things. Yeah, so obviously with these exams, we're not allowed to talk about the actual content, but the curriculum is public, so it's not like you don't know going in. We can talk about those things, and then just in general how we've been studying. I'm not sure how much like we can get into as far as like the format of the exam or what to expect. You know, if you were taking an exam, I've seen tons of posts with tips and tricks on like, you know, when you're in this kind of a internet-based browser or internet-based terminal, you know, this is what you should probably do because reasons. So I think that's okay, but if not, sorry.
I'll tell you. Spoiler alert, if we talk about that, is I have to... my brain is broken with Control-C and Control-V, and they're like, you have to do insert Control-C or whatever, and
Ooh.
or whatever it is. Maybe we'll look it up on stream if we get bored.
So on a Mac, it's just Command-C and Command-V works.
I should take it on my Mac.
Yeah, apparently.
I'm not going to, but I should.
Yeah.
Instead, I just right-click, copy. I could save precious seconds.
Oh, yeah. Adds up.
Yeah, it adds up a little bit, but you don't do too much copy pasting. And I'm really fast with it. I was going to say, even if you do need to do the insert whatever, blah, 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 when you don't have a 100% keyboard, if you're a pro and you don't have a 100% keyboard, you have a custom mechanical keyboard with QMK firmware, and it weighs 100 pounds, like me. Thanks, Makita. You don't know how to press insert. I don't know. I don't know where that's mapped. And it's like, oh my gosh. So there's even extra work to do. At any rate, we'll get into some of those things. Sam took the test this morning. So he is one hot little potato right now, and we'll be doing most of the talking about it. So, anything else? Or should we kick on into it?
We can jump on into it if you want to.
Let's go over. I'm so good at this.
Let's jump to it.
Let's jump to it. What do you got?
So, yes, as you mentioned, it is somewhat confusing. It's the CNCF, Cloud Native Computing Foundation, of course. And they have certs, but yes, everything ends up being, at the end of the day, through the Linux Foundation, which is kind of the parent org over CNCF. CNCF is a part of Linux Foundation. So the exam we've been studying for, and I took this morning, was the Certified Kubernetes Security Specialist, CKS. And so this does build on the CKA. You have to have the CKA in order to sit for the CKS. So the CKA, Kubernetes Administrator, is more on just day one operations, getting cluster up and running. Some operational stuff as far as ingress and RBAC and whatnot, but the CKS builds on that and adds in a lot of obviously security related stuff. Learned a ton of new stuff in the last couple of weeks. Lots of new tools. Yeah, it's been really fun because a lot of the CKA stuff, we've been learning for years, and all of this security stuff feels a lot newer to me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been more enjoyable studying.
Well, and I want to say, when we were studying for our CKAs, that was 2020,
Yeah.
September 2020, and I believe we got certified. We took the test before the CKS was announced, and the CKA at that time was a combination of Kubernetes administration plus security-related fundamentals and some of these really interesting patterns and configurations of Kubernetes that hardened your cluster, and we had to learn a lot of that back then. So I know when I took a swing at this, it was like, oh, I know a lot of this. I know because I had happened to do the studying for CKA pre CKS, and I know that the tests, kind of shared some content and then became their own entity. So I really don't know anything about the current CKA other than the old one used to have a lot of the security stuff in it. A lot being network policy stuff, pod security policy, RBAC, which is pretty pedestrian security stuff that probably should be part of the CKA. It's not like big brain image scanning, app armor, Linux kernel stuff. And again, all that stuff, that's public information. You can get in every study guide, including the study guide that you get. I won't spoil anything more, but you do get a study guide when you order this exam. So take us through this.
So, if you're going to purchase the exam, obviously come talk to us and you can buy it from us. We can do that.
We can do that.
We've never done it, but
don't tell them that.
Here's the curriculum. It's also available on GitHub. So all of the certifications have PDF versions of the curriculum out here. So you can view it either way, coming to the linuxfoundation.org training portal. Personally, I like the PDF a little better if it loads. If it doesn't, then I'm coming back here.
Weird.
So yeah, like we mentioned, all this stuff is in here and available. I think the PDF does a better job of displaying what's actually in there.
Boom.
Here we go. So yeah, high level, there's still just cluster setup, cluster hardening. You can see a lot of those same things that we mentioned, the RBAC, and really just focusing on setting flags and stuff that aren't enabled by default, or the default is less secure than some of the additional things you can add on to make it more secure. See that app armor, set comp, Like, yeah, and then, yeah, that starts to get into the administration of the nodes themselves, really. It's not even necessarily Kubernetes at that point. You could be running anything on uh, these VMs or
Mm-hmm.
Raspberry Pis, whatever you got. Um, and it would be good to have these things because it's just general security.
Yep.
Um, yeah, there's a ton of stuff as far as the services themselves, because that's obviously going to be a big uh, attack plane for hackers to go after. Is the stuff that you deploy onto it. There's countless vulnerabilities there. Supply chain security, that was huge at KubeCon.
Uh-huh.
Yep, so like validating where images can come from and blocking stuff that you don't necessarily trust offhand. um, some like logging, auditing, alerting. Um, yeah, all in there. I don't know if it calls out all the tools, but then another one to look at, allowed links. If I can find it real quick. Hopefully it's right here. Um, So yeah, and there is a bunch of rules around the actual taking of the exam,
Mm-hmm.
as far as like your setup and your area. So definitely have to read through all those.
Oh, I have a
Um,
question for you.
yeah.
Yeah, when you're taking the exam, as it states in this document, you have to have a valid driver's license, and you have to like hold it up to your camera
Uh, uh,
and have them read it. Like, now imagine I have a really nice camera, and I
mm,
go like this. Oh, you can
yep.
read that pretty good. Dang
Yeah.
it. Well, when I do this
Uh-huh.
in the test with my driver's license, it's super blurry, and the testing
Yeah.
person is just like, sir, can you please fix that? And it's super
Uh,
super annoying because my camera's so awesome, and it has a fixed lens and no autofocus because it's just
yeah.
like focused back here. So I always put it back here as a pro tip if you have Elgato. Put it back here,
Uh,
and then you click the zoom button, and then it zooms it in, and it's autofocus. That looks pretty
uh,
good though. What?
that's pretty good.
I don't know why it didn't. That. Keep going. I'm a little tilted about it.
So, I mean, that's a really good point. So, with these exams, you're allowed to log in and get started
Early.
with your verification process
Yeah.
15 minutes early. And you 100% should do that
Yeah.
because I think on average it takes at least 15 minutes for me. Half the time,
Yeah.
whatever, your video gets weird. You have to pan your laptop around the room.
Ugh.
I end up unplugging my monitor and my keyboard and stuff and lost connection. It took me, I think, at least 20 minutes this morning.
They make me.
So,
They make me. I have a desk pad. I gotta
uh-huh,
flip up the desk pad,
uh-huh.
and it's like, I get it. You know,
Yep.
There's no way you could actually cheat really hard and like have stuff hidden under your
Uh-huh.
desk pad. You have to, like, literally. You literally have to. When you're preparing for these tests, you will take practice exams through what we're going to talk about later, which I'm really excited to do because I
Mhm.
haven't set up for this, and Sam is hyped me about it this morning. You have to fix Kubernetes clusters. You can't. I don't know. It's just,
Uh-huh.
come on, man. Now I get it. They're doing. These people are very thorough. They have
Yep.
my hat's off to them, quite literally. So,
Yep.
but man, it's super annoying because I gotta take. All my setup's weird. I can't have. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, and I don't even know. Maybe I'm just too small brain. I don't even know what you would want outside of this. So when you take the exam, you get a browser-based terminal
Yeah.
in one Chrome tab, and then you're allowed one other Chrome tab to pull up
Yep.
any of these documentation sites that I have here. So you're allowed to look through Kubernetes IO docs, the Kubernetes GitHub. So any of the repos under Kubernetes you can look at. You can even look at the blog, which I thought that wasn't allowed before,
I didn't think
but
so
it
either.
is now.
It might be
So
for
that's super
CKS.
cool.
Yeah.
True. And then some of the other tools that may or may not be on the exam, but you're allowed to use the documentation.
Yeah.
So go figure.
Spoiler.
Um,
It's in their docs.
Privy, Sysdig, Falco, AppArmor. You're allowed to go to all those sites. You're just
Yeah.
allowed to have one tab open. But I, I mean, you can if you had enough time, you could look up every single answer
Hmm.
in these documentations. I guarantee the answer for the question is out there in the documentation. It just becomes a time management thing of, if you have to do that on every question, you're going to run out of time. There's
They're
no way you're
they're very reasonable requests, and they're
Yeah.
definitely doable if you know what you're doing. And I think that's what ultimately the exam is it's a test of
Yeah.
competency. Now,
Mhm.
and when you get into the real world and you're at a job, you can Google stuff. So you have a reasonable amount of time to do a bunch of stuff. You got to study for it, or else. I mean, these are a lot of different work centers all under security. And hey, Chris, and but it's doable if you're prepared. I'm really impressed with the types of questions that I get asked in the CKA and the CKS, because they're pretty reasonable. They're not easy, but you definitely need to know what you're doing. But
Yep.
you've studied for it, and in theory, you're ready for that. And
Yeah.
so my hat's off to the question makers in general on these.
Yep. Yeah. So I would definitely, one of our biggest tips I would say is just look at the manual. Read the manual. Don't go to Stack Overflow when you have a question.
No,
Don't do it.
nope,
Come here because this is where the answer is. Um,
exactly. It's a little
it's where
RTFM
the answer
action.
is. Yep.
Slab in the chat.
Uh,
RTFM.
yep.
Read the fun manual.
Uh,
Exactly. And that's a skill all in and of itself, and you get really good at it.
yep.
Just studying for this exam, you get really good at navigating it.
Yep. So I would say that, and then also anytime if you're using one of these tools and you've never used it before,
Yeah.
just do Trivi dash dash help.
Yeah.
Just look through the menu. There's most of these modern tools have really good help menus.
Yep.
Um, get used to it. You know.
Okay. Pro tip for the one extra tab I was going to mention when you were going through that.
Yes. Yep.
I have massive monitor, and so I had one the test screen over here in one
Uh-huh.
quadrant or half, and then I
Uh-huh.
used my other tab as another window, and they were
Smart.
totally good with it. Okay, so if you have
So
widescreen, go ahead.
yeah. So when I took the KCNA beta, which we passed, boom, it's got the shirt on. So when I took that, the proctor told me that I couldn't have more than one screen. But today, he said you can have another screen if you want, and I was like, yes, I do. Why, thank you. I'll plug my monitor in. Sounds great, man. So kind of depends on what you get, I guess. I don't know, but yeah, window management.
Window management, and ask for it. They'll tell you. They'll
Yep.
pause your if they're saying illegal, they'll pause it
Uh-huh.
and they'll correct you. But
Yep.
when I took the CKS, it was piece of cake. When I took the beta KCNA, yeah, they were pretty harsh, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous to
Uh-huh.
take CKS because this guy was really tough on just my setup.
Uh-huh.
We got Slab in the chat. K8's docs are great. They put a lot of time and effort into them, and it shows. They're community driven. I think that's why. I think you can update them on GitHub,
Yeah.
probably. And they have a lot of great examples. Yes, they do. That's how I got through the CKA. You can just pull up the examples and the questions and the hints in the test itself. They give you a lot of the times. The questions give you, as you will see in the practice exams. This is nothing. This is
Uh-huh.
all above board. You are given shells of manifests and objects, and they're like, yeah, we put some shells out here for you, but you gotta fill them in and make them work. It's
Yep.
reasonable. They're not
Yeah.
asking you to do a day's worth of work in 2 hours. They're asking you to do a reasonable amount of stuff with stuff that you'd have on hand if you were asked to do it at work. And even then, you're gonna have the internet.
Right.
And don't even get me started about if you were to take all the questions and create Agile cards out of them. how many weeks of work, how many sprints of work certain people might. Oh my god, how many points? I don't even want to start. We're not going to talk about Agile today.
Yeah, and one thing to
Anyway,
note,
it's
like
good.
it it is an exam, and I think they have that disclaimer somewhere where
Yeah.
it's like, you know, the way you accomplish the task in the exam probably isn't how you're going to do it in a production
Mm-hmm.
enterprise cluster,
Mm-hmm.
because you're just like out there on the machine,
Yep.
on the VM itself, and you're just putting in commands where they need to go, and you're fixing stuff. You know, when you're at an enterprise org, you probably have some automation, infrastructure as code, so you know how and where you make those changes would change, but in the end, you're setting the same flags or flipping whatever bits. And but it is, I don't know. This is probably the most fun exam that I've taken so far, just because there is so much of like going out there and just like finding it and exploring, and I don't know, just more. It's closer to the actual machine itself
Yeah.
versus with the CKA, you're just setting up Kubernetes with manifests, basically just editing YAML to pass it.
Yeah.
So
What are we looking at here?
this is a great page to bookmark. Okay, and I don't have a definitive answer of whether bookmarks are kosher,
I think
but
they
I've
are.
always used them,
I think they
and
are.
nobody said anything. So you're just in your Chrome browser. So as you can see up here, I had started making a little bookmark of allowed links. But kubectl cheat sheet, I go there all the time. For anything, it has examples of a lot of different things. This is a great page. But I mean, honestly, I say that, but I also want to go back to just if you're on the command line and you have kubectl, you can just, if you know where you're going, kind of, just start typing the commands. Kubectl create help, and then when you have the next argument, do
Yeah.
create ingress help,
Yeah.
and it shows you examples in there, and it makes it really straightforward. Yeah.
Was that the
Some
autocomplete? Did you use that in the exam?
no, is there?
Scroll up to the top. I thought that's what you were going to tell me. Right there.
No.
This
Yeah, no, I didn't even
source
do that.
kubectl completion bash. Wait a minute.
So you don't want to do that one.
Bash completion package should be installed somewhere. I don't know if we have access to that on the test. That'd be awesome, though. That'd save you a lot of
I
time.
feel like you do. And
Do you
another
really?
thing I've seen called out is you're going to be using VI or whatever
Yeah.
to edit files on the command line. Um, and so if you have certain things you want to set, like set paste, will 100% get you if you don't do it. If you're copy and pasting stuff into your files, but you can edit your VIRC or whatever you want to. And then let me. So the reference docs is also,
Yes.
just kidding. The generated docs
Yep.
is also great, and this is closer to if you're just running kubectl on the command line and you start typing stuff. This is closer to what you'll get. I think this has more, but this is another great one to bookmark, and I use it all the time.
The examples on the right, yeah, in the gutter on the right. Yeah, this was home base for CKA. It's so
Yeah.
nice.
Uh huh. Doesn't get much better than that. I mean, it's
Okay.
all there.
So those are some exam tips. What else? Let's talk about how did you study for the exam, Sam?
Yeah. So, I mean, for a while, I've been using Code Cloud,
Mm-hmm.
and that's more of self-paced videos and labs, and it is very good. Um, it's specifically made for the CKS. It does cover everything in here.
Yep.
But what I found out just recently, and 100% recommend because it's included in your exam,
Now we're talking.
is Killer SH. And so this is an exam simulator that you get 2 sessions for free anytime you purchase a CKS, CKA, or CCAD. Um, Now, I understand maybe why you haven't been able to launch it because you already took your exam, and now that I've taken mine, this is no longer there for me. But you can log into the training platform, the Linux Foundation training platform, and click this button that you would see on your exam page, and that will SSO you into Killer SH's system, um, and give you 2 free sessions that you can launch into. And where's the marketing here? Um, yes, so I'll zoom in on this a little more even. So this it's a mock exam basically. It's 22 questions, so it's even more than the actual exam. Supposedly, it's even harder than the actual exam. Um, but it's a super good tool. I spent a lot of time the last few days doing this, and I went through and just did it like I would the exam. If I didn't know something, I went to, I had my one tab open and I went and I looked at the docs and I tried to find it. And then also it has a really cool feature of showing you the answers and actually how to do it. That is one of my gripes with the CNCF certifications. You get a pass, no pass.
Yeah.
So you get thumbs up or thumbs down. So you don't know what you got wrong, or like, you probably have a good idea of, oh, I didn't feel so good on that question. I should probably go learn more. But this is nice because it points out exactly, you missed this. You did 3 out of the 4 tasks that were required, and otherwise, you don't know where to go.
I'm fixing my video.
Oh, I thought you were really just in there, man.
Fixing my video. I got it. Blowing my
Uh-huh.
finger. I think I've got it. It's fine. Actually, it looks great. Okay, so I'm trying to get in my CKS portal, and it's just spinning.
Yeah. Well, maybe. Yeah, that's all right.
Oh,
I think if you follow the instructions of the FAQ, it should be there. It was there for me. I can now still go into it. So this is my session, and I still have this one activated, and I haven't activated this one. So you get each one of the shells for 36 hours, which is plenty of time to go through it and then review the answers. One thing to note, they have in bold. Each type of simulator, it's the same questions for both sessions. So it just gives you another opportunity to practice it like an exam.
Okay.
Which I think is a good part of it. But yeah, there's only 22 fixed questions. And there is a preview, so if you are buying this just, without buying the exam, it's €30 because it's from Europe. So hopefully your bank or PayPal can convert that for you. But
Sam, have you seen the exchange rate? Come on. Euros? We need to do better. Actually, I have a few euros left on my desk from a trip to Italy.
There you go. I'm sure you can mail them in, and they'll accept that as payment.
Yes. Okay. Well, this thing might... I'm so bummed. I was really hoping that this would load for me during the stream so I could be more excited about it, but I'm a little tilted. Okay. Killer SH. It's a strong plug from Sam.
Very strong.
I've not used it.
Big fanboy.
But I'm about to be also fanboy number 2. Fix my video. Just like so. Okay. Well, that's really good. That's really good to hear. Yeah, I like Code Cloud. What you haven't mentioned yet was the included materials from Linux Foundation. Is that correct? Have you dabbled in that at all? Or was that something that I found on my own, and maybe I'm the one that needs to tell you about it?
So let's see if I got it up right. So we paid for the Linux Foundation's course.
Yeah.
if that's
Yep,
yes.
LFS
So
260.
yep. So when we bought our exams last year, Black Friday deal or whatever,
Oh yeah.
um, we bundled and got the course and started doing it, and it was fine. Um, I don't think they had any labs or anything,
We
and
bundled
that's
and
where
saved, Sam. We bundled and saved. Okay.
yeah, it's all good, all good things.
Did you go through it at all?
I started to. I 100% didn't finish it. I didn't finish all of Code Cloud yet, but
No.
um,
It's a lot.
there's a lot in there. Yeah.
I like what they've got in LFS 260. It's good.
Mm.
But in terms of like it's good practical knowledge and it you learn a lot of the vernacular, you see a lot of the scope and breadth of what Linux Foundation is hoping you take away from
Mhm.
getting the certification and what kind of represent the brand of the CKS. Sorry, did I say CKA? Of course I did. It's because I got CKA in the mind because it's the only one I got. Soon we'll get the other one. It's challenging though. So, it, but it takes a lot of time. So if you're like me, if you're just a busy guy on the go, I got 2 kids.
Mhm.
I got time to sit around all weekend and read this LFS 260. I gotta work, and I gotta play Minecraft and stuff with my kids. It's a little dry, but I have found a pretty good strategy just busting through it and picking out the good parts. And there's a ton of really good content. If you were to do everything, it would take you forever. So you're getting a good value. If you're a student and you're home for the summer, I mean,
Right.
you're gonna be very informed on what's going on from a starting from zero, and they're gonna inform you about a lot. So
Yep.
that's what I have to say about LFS 260. I'm glad that
Right.
that's interesting that I totally forgot that we just bundled it and bought it. So you don't normally get it.
Correct.
Okay. Is it worth $200 if it's not on Black Friday? Wait a minute. Even with the bundle, you save you save $100. How much is it just normally?
I think it's as expensive as the.
Shut the front door. Let me see this. Click the link for that. Yeah. Are you are you
300.
kidding me? What a value. I should actually use it. Holy moly.
You saved so much.
It gets 4 stars. Wait, why does that show 4.5 stars but then say 4? Come on, man.
Right.
Ooh, bye bye keyboard. Hate to see
My
that.
keyboard.
Well, who's it say it's for? Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. So maybe you
Pretty
can't start.
targeted.
Maybe you can't start from square one. I mean, if you know Kubernetes stuff, and I guess if you have your CKA or
Right.
the equivalent experience level, you could start from that zero in terms of
Yeah.
investing your time in really digging into some of the hardening process. If you've only dabbled, you
Yep.
could start from zero. If that's zero, like, oh, I've installed Kubernetes a bunch of times on my Raspberry Pi and I'm comfortable with it. If that's your zero, yeah, you could start there, and this would teach you a lot.
Hmm.
Huh. Okay. Good to know. But Killer SH feels like that's the best time value of money, and that's free, and it's the best if you value your time, like me. If you're very judicious with it, then
Hmm.
that seems to be a massive amount of value. You still need to cover a lot of material. So,
Yep.
Code Cloud. Code Cloud stuff. I haven't taken their CKS practice tests. I'm going to. I don't know if did you take the Code Cloud practice exams?
Yep. I took one. It's super similar.
Okay.
Personally, I did like the Killer SH
Yeah.
better. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, if I had to do it over again, I would probably start out, um, probably right away taking one of the
Yeah.
Killer SH sessions since you get 2 of them,
Yeah.
just to kind of gauge where I should spend my time,
Right.
um, and then go from there. Because whether it's the Linux Foundation course, if it's Code Cloud, you know, coming to Devs Operative, whoever, um, all the answers are already out there. It's just kind of what makes sense for you as far as your learning process.
Yeah.
If, the videos with labs is what you need, you don't have to do all of it. Like you said, there's so much material. If you already know, a good chunk of part of it, then, focus your time on what you're going to learn most.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah, that's basically all I had to show for now. Yeah.
I mean, that's really really good information to share with people. I mean, this is hot off the presses. Your experience preparing and taking it,
Yeah.
and I think that gives people a lot of options. And the good news is you've got a lot of options. I mean, there's a lot of good resources to learn this stuff.
Mhm.
And if I was to rank order them, it sounds like today the way that we learn, and I think that was a good way to frame it. Depending on how you learn, and honestly, I would prefer to have really good YouTube videos teach me how to do stuff. I'm just like addicted to, or not addicted to, but
Mhm.
I learn really well when I see somebody do it,
Yeah.
and as opposed to like a blog post of the same thing.
Mhm.
Man, I lock up with blog posts. I'm like, can I see the video? So I am fully trained. In the it's the year 2021. I need it. I need a 5-minute YouTube video to show me how to do that, please.
Yeah.
I don't have that kind of time to read this blog post and try 20 things. But the practice exams,
Yep.
I think that's a pretty strong recommendation. Do the first free Killer SH right off the bat, and just tear off the Band-Aid and jump in the pool, or whatever analogy you'd like. I
Yep.
wholeheartedly agree. I think that's the best start that you could do, especially. And for me, I was stupid. I didn't even take the practice exam. I just said, you know what, I'm jumping the pool. I'm going to take my test
Uh-huh.
because I'm running out of time.
Yeah.
And man, is that motivating
Yeah.
when you realize, I'm like, oh my gosh, I know more than I thought I knew, number one. So it felt good. And then that was really fun. It was
Mhm.
it felt like well, it was a practice. I treated it as that. But
Right.
then you really kind of know what you don't know
Yeah.
really quick. And that's going to help you be efficient with your time and your training. You spend time getting better at the places you're weak. Anything else? I have one more killer tip. Actually, it's just a
Yeah.
test taking strategy.
Yep.
So for any of these certification tests, all of them rather, they will tell you, CKA and CKS, let me be specific. I won't speak for anything else. They will tell you how much each question is worth of your grade, of your 100%. They'll tell you, hey, this question's worth 12%. This one's worth 3. This one's worth 6. Whatever. This one's worth 10. There's something like that. They'll tell you. And as a general rule of test taking, you probably want to focus on those big dogs first. Do not let yourself spin your wheels on a 3%er right off the bat. Get some track, buzz through those questions. When I have the test presented to me, read the first question. Is it a juicy one? Do I just know what to do? I might just do it right away. But if it's something I'm like, I'm going to have to look up the docs on that real quick. Or, okay, I know I'm weak in this. I study this, but like,
Mhm.
bookmark next question. Even if it's a big one, even if it's a 10 or 12 percenter. If it's a low one, no. I could afford to not answer that question and still pass the test because I'm going to focus my energy as efficiently as I can on the places that I need to spend time. Like some of these take a lot of time, which is why they're larger percentages. And so if I can be really efficient, get those done and get them done correctly and like take time to validate that it's done, hey, that's a good use of your 2 hours for CKS, for instance. I think CKA is also 2 hours, but that's my big brain strat. Use the flag. There's a flag button that we can talk about caveats on the flag button in a minute. But there's a flag button. Just skip them, flag them, come back. Piece of cake. It's just like taking the ACT or whatever, if that's a thing. Or is that too boomer to like
Too
say that
boomer.
I took the ACT? What a boomer.
Yeah.
Frickin' boomer. I just took the ACT or the SAT or whatever.
SAT is more current.
Whatever.
Uh,
SAT was for people like going to Ivy League schools when I was going graduating college. Oh, I think SAT too. Have fun at Berkeley or whatever.
uh,
I don't know.
yeah. So I think
Anyway,
the cautionary tip with the
yeah,
flag
please.
is if you take a break and they pause your exam, you go to the bathroom, you come back, whatever, and they unpause your exam, all of your flagged questions are gone.
Oh
They're no
what?
longer flagged.
Oh wait, what? Can you start from the top, just so that everybody in the back hears that? What?
So if you're taking your exam and you've flagged question three because you want to go back to it, and then you're an hour in and you got to go to the bathroom, and so you request a break. They pause your exam for you, so your screen doesn't display the exam. You can
Sounds a
walk
little
away.
sus to have to go pee, but go ahead.
Whatever, man. I drank way too much water.
Uh huh.
You come back and they unpause it for you. Question three is no longer flagged. There's a little red flag saying it's something you got to follow up on. Now, if you remember, hey, I got to go look at question three, that's fine. It also resets your terminal. So if you're not using Tmux, you're kind of SOL. Luckily, everyone should use Tmux. So
This happened to me as well, and they paused my exam for I don't remember why. They paused my exam and literally all the questions that I had flagged got reset. So
yeah.
what's the workaround? Would we say use Tmux?
So yeah. So one, you do get a notepad. I don't know if that resets.
I better not reset.
But what I feel like I would do going forward is every time you come to a question that you're not sure and you're in Tmux and you have your Tmux window, you do your Tmux leader key and then comma. You rename that window to question whatever, question seven,
Mm,
and then you create a new Tmux window and you move on.
gotcha.
And that way, no matter what, you're good. You can come back to question seven. You'll be right where you were in question seven and
Yep.
everything. So I think that's the best solution, um, is to do that with Tmux and skip the flag altogether.
Two valid options. Well, three. You could use the flag that is extremely fragile, apparently. Come on, guys. And I left them that same feedback. They need to come on, man.
Mhm.
Tmux window, or just note it in your notepad, because if they delete that, then the test is completely
So
broken. And I think the test is great, and their exam environment is great, but it's got to fix the flag thing. That's ridiculous.
I don't remember if they even had a notepad. So what I had done was just, VI a notes file. You can create as many files as you want. Just start writing down your questions
Hmm.
in the terminal itself. But again, still use Tmux so you're where you're at and you don't lose anything.
Yeah. Okay. Well, cool. Thank you for sharing that. I'm excited to
Yeah.
get mine over with. I need to study over this
Yeah.
Thanksgiving break a little
Right.
bit, and take my practice exam, assuming I can get this stupid tab to open up. If not, I'm going
Yeah.
to shell out some shillings to
Uh-huh.
the Europeans or whoever built
Uh-huh.
Killer SH, which sounds killer.
Yeah.
And I think it's awesome. This was good. We like to use these streams to help ourselves, and this was very helpful to at least me. So hopefully there are others out there
Right.
that get some benefit out of it. Let me change this back here. Anything else? Sam, have any big plans this holiday weekend?
Not really.
I know what you're doing. Don't tell the people. Gonna cook a turkey?
Yep. We probably have a deep fried turkey at my dad's, so
Very
been
nice.
in the brine since Sunday, so hopefully it's still alive.
That's gonna be a salty turkey. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, salty turkey.
I was on deck to smoke a brisket, but my mom
Uh,
forgot to buy it and bring it to me, so I don't have to do that. So I am ready to party tonight.
uh, heck
Hopefully,
yeah.
at least party tomorrow and watch the Lions are gonna play again, right?
Yeah, yeah, tomorrow.
I mean, they're undefeated in November. Supposedly, it's the meme.
Uh-huh.
There's a little sport ball reference for all you. And no, this is great. And hope everyone has a happy, healthy holiday weekend. Happy Thanksgiving to you. And our Devs Operative logo looks like a turkey.
It does kind of, doesn't it? Uh-huh.
I saved that for the end for you. Looks like
Uh-huh.
could be a little bit. It's
Very
not really.
good.
It's a nine-tailed fox. Don't worry about it. All right. And with that, thank you. Thank you
Thanks
very
for
much, and we will see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye.